5 suspects have been killed in a shootout with police in Inanda, just outside Durban. This happened in the early hours of this morning. 4 guns were recovered at the scene. Officials believe this was a gang hideout that they'd intercepted. KZN police spokesperson Robert Netshiunda says law enforcement had been pursuing the suspects who'd been wanted for crimes, including murder. Let's get the latest for you now with Phila Mthembu, who's live from the scene. Phila, good morning. We found out some of the initial preliminary details from Robert Netshiunda about the investigations going as far back as November, culminating in the shootout in the early hours of this morning. You're there now. What's it like at the scene?
Iman, a very good morning to you. So we are exactly at the scene right now, and what I can tell you is that the forensics team are currently cleaning up the scene, and of course they are trying to collect as much evidence as they possibly can. We are unable to actually show you that part of it because actually it's right at the back of us, and right now it is actually still closed off. But we do have Colonel Robert Netshiunda, who's going to be speaking to us shortly with regard to really the suspects. What do we know about them? We did hear that they had been wanted for various crimes. Now, this would be murder, attempted murder, as well as house robberies. But what I can also tell you is that there are community members here on the lookout. Let us bring in Colonel Robert Netshiunda to the conversation. Colonel, so far we know that the suspects were wanted for various crimes. Now, this is murder, attempted murder, as well as robberies. It also goes back to the fact that there were also other 2 suspects that I believe were gunned down in Amawoti as well yesterday. And looking at what is happening here and the incident of yesterday, how much of a concern to see all of these things happen, especially coming out from Inanda?
It is a major concern. And what concerns the police more is that there seem to be so many illegal guns in the communities. And as long as there are guns in the communities in the wrong hands, those guns will be used to kill. People will be robbed with these guns. The incident of yesterday, you will recall that a day before, there were 4 people who were shot at. 2 were killed, 1 injured, and 1 survived. They took their belongings, they took their car. 5 were arrested, but only those 2, they didn't want to be arrested. They fought with the police. That's where they were fatally wounded. This one as well. They wanted to work for murder, like we said. Attempted murder, house robberies, armed robberies, and all within this area. And in November last year, police got hold of them, but they shot at police officers. They survived. They moved. They continued their killing spree. So when we got information that they are here, we're here to come tactically. And just behind the camera, we announced that we are police, we are here. And they fired shots. Police had no choice but to protect themselves and people who are around here. You can see this house is close to other houses. So if there are bullets flying around, somebody who's asleep could be injured. So during that shootout, that's where all of them, 5, were shot and fatally wounded. And so far, we have found 4 firearms. Our forensic team, like we said, they are still busy with the crime scene, trying to search if they could find anything that can be used as evidence.
Yeah. And do we know whether during the confrontation with police, were they probably also planning to go and commit other crimes? What have you been able to ascertain so far as your investigations are concerned in that aspect?
They had not stopped committing crimes. They were going on with their robbing spree, their killing spree. So the firearms we found here, we're talking of ballistic, we believe that they will be linked to many cases in Inanda and around Inanda area. Because these are suspects that they don't do any other job than killing and robbing people. So we don't expect them to do 1 robbery and they stop, to kill 1 person and they stop. That's how they live. So we believe that they've been continuing. As we're looking for them, to running away, also doing more murders, more robberies as they continued.
Yeah, and it's quite emotive at this point, Colonel. I can hear in the background, and I think you can also hear too, there are cries going on in the background. Have you been able to get a chance to speak to the families of these people? Have anyone actually come forward to actually identify them so far?
Their families are here and they are making noise as you will expect. And as police, we have to follow process. We must first deal with the crime scene and get their proper identity. Then we will inform the families accordingly. Because we don't want to assume that this is the person. We know who we're looking for, but we must first do diligence. Deal with the crime scene, because this is the crime scene. Family or not, these are the ones we're looking for, so we must first deal with them. Then we'll inform the families properly when the time comes. For now, whoever wants to say anything or to cry, they can do that. It's very emotional, yes. But when they were shooting at police officers, they were hoping to kill police officers. So we could be talking a different language now, that maybe we will be sending our EHW to families of police officers to inform them that he came to work, but he's coming back as a corpse. So we understand these things. Nobody will agree that my son, my daughter, my niece was a criminal. They will claim their innocence. We have seen this many times before, and even though they are caught in the act, they will still deny. So as police, ours is to ensure that the crime scene now is properly processed, and once we are done, those who are family members will be informed accordingly.
Okay, let us leave it at that, Colonel. Thank you so much for your time. Just getting really more details with regards to what is it that we know about these suspects. We do know that the families are actually here. It's incredibly emotional, but of course, we also do know that the scene is actually still being cleaned up. There are forensics team here collecting as much evidence as they possibly can, and we do know that the bodies are going to be eventually removed. But then on the ground, the families being here really to see if it is their relatives that have been caught up in this battle with the police. Quite concerning, events coming through here. Colonel Robert Netshiunda also saying how much of a concern it is, basically knowing that there have been, such shootouts occurring frequently, especially in this particular area of Inanda. So we are going to try, Iman, and navigate, move around to really get a sense of what else can we see, and also just to give you access with regards to where the forensics teams are. We do know it is still closed off at the moment, but we are eventually going to gain access to it.
Phila, thank you for the update. More from our reporters on the scene a little bit later on.